Alright, Metal Gear Solid. One of the most critically acclaimed games from the 5th generation of consoles. The game that kickstarted Kojima's career. I guess because, as we all know, because Konami and Kojima aren't really together anymore. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'll leave that up to you. Anyway, the MGS games are known for having intricate plot lines, stories, and a ton of cutscenes. I've been meaning to get to Metal Gear Solid for a long time because I saw other people doing reviews on the game, like Some Call Me Johnny and Honest Biggums, who is no longer making videos anymore. Biggums, if you're watching this, you will be missed. But for some reason, I just couldn't find the time to play this game. It's not like it didn't look interesting to me, which is honestly the complete opposite, but it doesn't really help that I don't really like the North American box art. The Power Region box art, it's cool, it looks really nice, but in this box art, it looks like someone just got their 5-year-old son to do it, forgot that they were supposed to do it, and just said, F it, the game ships in 3 hours. Anyway, earlier this year, after my Sonic Mania review, I asked you guys what game I should review after that. Choices were MGS1, A Link to the Past, and Banjo-Kazooie, and the majority of you guys voted for Banjo-Kazooie, which kinda disappointed me because I really wanted to finally get an excuse to play the MGS games. It's not to disrespect you guys, because what you guys chose became one of my favorite platformers of all time, and I just had so much fun with Banjo-Kazooie. Anyway, I thought this would be the perfect time than any to finally talk about this franchise. So, this is Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear is finally activated, but unfortunately Snake isn't doing too much damage. Enter Grey Fox. He helped out Snake with an arm cannon that evolved from Mega Man to explode liquid in a cockpit so Snake can attack him directly. This sadly causes him to die in the process. Alright, before I start the summary, let me just say, if you're interested in getting into Metal Gear Solid, just know that you should expect a lot of cutscenes. It'll feel like you're actually watching a movie. In fact, Kojima actually wanted to write movies, and it really shows in these games. How we got into video games, I cannot tell you for the life of me. But before I start the summary, spoiler alert. I'm sorry, but when I'm writing these story summaries, I spoil shit as a result. So if you haven't played these games, I don't want to rob you of those moments as you're experiencing all what the story has to offer, so here's your time arc. Oh wait. This game takes place around 6 years after the events of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. The members of Foxhound are starting a rebellion in Shadow Moses somewhere in Alaska. They demand that the government hand over the remains of Big Boss. If their demands aren't met in the remaining 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. Solid Snake comes out of retirement for the second time to save the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson, and the president of Arms Tech, Kenneth Baker. On his way there, Snake is informed about the members of Foxhound. There's Psycho Mantis, who has the ability to read people's mind. That one guy on Call of Duty who's always sniping everyone. Sniper Wolf. Decoy Octopus, who can disguise himself as anything. Vulcan Raven, who's pretty infatuated over explosions. Revolver Ocelot, who is pretty skilled in interrogation, and finally the leader of the squad, Liquid Snake, who is very identical to our Snake, except he has blonde hair. In the events of the last game, Snake gets the injection from Dr. Naomi Hunter called nanomachines. So what are nanomachines? Well, they make you invincible. Really, they're everything your body needs. They make you smarter, they make you faster, they make you stronger. They can even help you they can even help your body fight off diseases. Anyway, Snake continues this mission and finds the DARPA chief. They have an extremely long conversation, so I'll just cut to the important parts. Dawn informs Snake that there's a bigger and stronger version of Project Metal Gear, codenamed Rex. Anderson and Baker were kidnapped because they had the secret codes for the project. Unfortunately, they got Anderson codes, but not Baker. Anderson tells Snake that there's something called the Powell Key that can stop it, but out of nowhere, Anderson dies of a heart attack. Out of getting out of the cell, Snake encounters Meryl, who doesn't have the experience that Snake has, but still managed to help him by thwarting some security guards. Snake finds Baker but runs into Revolver Ocelot, where the two have a quick draw. After Snake wins, a random ninja cuts off Ocelot's hands and frees Baker. Then he just has a quick spaz attack, then runs out. Baker tells Snake that because he was able to resist Psycho Mantis' mind control, yet he was never to resist torture, the terrorists now have both codes and can launch the nuke at any time. But Baker informs Snake about the location of the Powell Key, which is in possession of Meryl. He also tells them the location of the man who made Metal Gear Rex possible, Hal Emmerich, but he also dies of a heart attack soon after. Snake starts to get suspicious, so he contacts Meryl and have a very long conversation that doesn't mean shit story-wise. Meryl opens the door for Snake when encounters Vulcan Raven and takes him on in a goddamn tank. So naturally, you would think between a Snake and one man, you'd think that the tank would win. Wrong. Snake wins with nothing but grenades, which, I don't care what you guys say, but that's fucking epic. Anyway, Snake managed to find Emmerich, who encounters the Ninja again. The two have a duel with Snake coming out on top, but Snake starts to realize his fight style seems familiar. Then he finally figures out that it's Gray Fox, Snake's best friend in war. He died in the events of Metal Gear, but was revived as a robot after being experimented on, which Naomi seems to know a lot more than she lets on, but I'll get to that later. Snake meets Hal Emmerich, who wants to help out the world with his technology because of his love for anime, or what idiots call them, Japanese cartoons, but then starts to die inside when he realized that he was actually helping a group of terrorists nuke apart the states. Snake is able to locate Meryl thanks to her assets, which I swear doesn't sound as bad in context. Meryl gives Snake the PAL key, but Snake starts bitching when he finds out that she only has one of them. After the two go into the office, Psycho Mantis starts controlling Meryl's mind, but Snake manages to deal with them, allowing him and Meryl to unlock the door and move forward. But then Meryl gets shot over 3 times with a sniper rifle. Alright, now I'm gonna sound like a pervert for this, you can blame Honest Bigums, he was the one who put the image in my head, but did anyone else think that Meryl got shot in the vagina? I mean, just look at this. I mean, that's pretty high on her thigh, right? Anyway, Sniper Wolf was using her as bait to lure Snake, but since Snake doesn't have a sniper rifle, he has to backtrack all the way back to the first facility. Now, I hate backtracking in general, but this really sucks, especially since we're nowhere near done with backtracking. Anyway, Snake defeats Sniper Wolf, but soon after, he's confronted by a bunch of soldiers led by Sniper Wolf, who somehow didn't die from the fight even though she was shot at least 6 times. Anyway, Snake is taken in for interrogation, and here is where we finally get to meet the leader of the squad, Liquid Snake. Ocelot starts torturing him, and this is where the good and bad ending takes effect, but I'll get to that later in the summary. Ocelot told Snake that Metal Gear was made from launching nukes, and after being tortured, Snake is thrown into a cell with Anderson's dead body that starts decomposing even though he only died a few hours ago. Snake contacts Colonel Campbell, and it's real that the Colonel always knew about Metal Gear. It was designed for nuclear destruction. He only did this to alert the general public and not to cause a worldwide panic. Liquid Snake confronts Snake flying in a high G while on his way to the underground base where Metal Gear is being held. After taking him out, Snake encounters Sniper Wolf for a second time, shooting her with nothing but remote-controlled missiles. After this, some drama happens, and when Naomi is exposed for taking the identity of the real Dr. Naomi Hunter, it seems that she has a vendetta against Snake because of the death of Gray Fox. She considered him family because he was the only one who raised her. She joined Foxhound to get her revenge, so when Naomi injected Snake with nanomachines, when in actuality it was a virus called Foxdie, a disease that targets a specific person to kill, and that's what happened to the DARPA chief and Baker. Although she starts to warm up to Snake when she realizes that he's not the trained killer that she was led to believe, which is nice and all, but that virus is still stuck inside of Snake, so it's only a matter of time before he dies too. Snake encounters Vulcan Raven a second time and wins once again. He finally gets to the base and inserts the PAL key to stop Metal Gear from launching, but Liquid just says, "Gotcha, bitch!" Manipulates Snake by disguising himself as Donald Miller to getting him to arm Metal Gear. See, the DARPA chief that we saved was actually Decoy Octopus in disguise. The real DARPA chief was accidentally killed by Ocelot, so Liquid couldn't get the code. So apparently the reason why he and Snake look alike is because of their clones of Big Boss to carry on his legacy. But Liquid has all the recessive genes while Snake got all the dominant genes, so he wants to get rid of Snake so he can be on top, and also using the rest of the remains of Big Boss to fulfill his dream, to perfect his soldiers, creating war for them to have purpose and other Metal Gear is finally activated, but unfortunately Snake isn't doing too much damage. Enter Gray Fox. He helps out Snake with an arm cannon that he borrowed from Mega Man to expose Liquid in the cockpit so Snake can attack him directly. This sadly causes him to die in the process. Snake and Meryl have a very short love scene because the Secretary of Defense is bombing Shadow Moses with airstrikes. The one who was revealed behind the Foxdie injection wants to bury everything about Metal Gear and all the events that happened. Snake and Meryl take a quick escape route, but only to find out Liquid survived the 20-foot fall. Luke collides into Snake and Meryl's Jeep, catching the two under the Jeep. But before he can finish them off, Liquid dies from the Foxdie virus that was inside of Snake. The Secretary of Defense is arrested when he was discovered, and Campbell is now back in charge of it all. Naomi suggests that Snake lives his life to the fullest, and Snake happily agrees to that. The game ends with Snake and Meryl riding a snowmobile off to the sunset. Whew, sorry this part of the video took so long, there's just so much to talk about. Now let's talk about what I think about the story. I'm gonna be honest, at least 75% of this game is dialogue. MGS1 you can beat in 3 to 4 hours if you skip all the cutscenes. For some people that might turn them off, but I was surprisingly okay with that. I knew coming in that I would be hit with a load of cutscenes, and I thought I was gonna skip all of them, but I honestly just couldn't. I watched every single cutscene all the way through. The only time I skipped them was either I already saw them, or if I accidentally pressed X on accident. I was really invested in the story. I also didn't want Meryl to die, even though in the torture segment I saw my phone was about to fall off. But I didn't want to resist because I wanted to see Meryl live, and so if it wasn't obvious, I love the story. It's intriguing, it's well thought out, it's serious, but it still kind of has its own charm, and it's not all dark and gritty throughout with all this war stuff, for the most part. All the characters are really good and well written. I love how the members of Foxhound, when the members of Foxhound die, we gotta find out what their motives and sympathize with them. Surprisingly, for a late 90s game, the voice acting is actually really good and sounds just as good now as it did back then. Although I do have a couple of complaints about the story though. First is Liquid. He's a pretty convoluted character. He's Snake just because he had all the dominant genes and he had all the recessive genes even. He hates Snake just because he had all the dominant genes, which Snake had no control of. And second, this might just be a nitpick, but Snake's real name at the end is David. I mean, I know it's to soften the guy up, but like, you really couldn't come up with anything else. And lastly, I think that Snake and Meryl continually getting stopped by someone by Foxhound just kinda got repetitive after a while. But other than that, I really like the story. It's really cool that Kojima's passion for writing movies really shines bright in these games. Alright, Metal Gear Solid kind of takes a new approach at the third-person shooter. In fact, stealth is actually heavily implied. You need to infiltrate facilities and get as much stuff without getting caught. If you do, this noise will happen. No matter how many times I'll play this game, that noise will still scare the shit out of me. That sound says, "Oh, you think you know better than me? Well, you're dead, dickhead." To be honest, the AI in this game is pretty stupid. Like, when they think they saw you and they see nothing, they just kind of go back to their business. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty easy to get spotted by these guys. Once you get spotted, the AI gets smarter and you go into alert phase. Once the heat dies down and you start to go into evasion phase, the enemies aren't the only ones that can spot you. There's also security cameras too that can get you too. They can be a serious pain in the ass, especially when they shoot out bullets. Although it kind of feels a little bit good when I successfully managed to get past the surveillance camera without getting caught. This thing up here is your map. It shows you where your enemies are and where they're facing. If you're in their radius, the map will be gone and you'll go into alert phase. As you go on, you need to get as many items that you can get to defend yourself. The weapons range from guns, grenades, missile launchers. On the left side, you have items that help you progress. These range from access cards to rations to help you regain your health, night vision goggles, and goggles that can help you see lasers. Snake isn't too diverse in hand-to-hand combat. He can do his punch-kick combo, but it won't kill the guards. You can also just judo flip them over, but it won't kill them, but this will. They can just snap their necks, and it won't even leave a mess on the floor. Their bodies just disappear into thin air. Combat is highly discouraged in this game since it's an infiltration mission. Oh god, my nose. But sometimes there will be times where you'll be forced into a fight, either by boss fight or a bunch of enemies. The boss fights in this game are really good, and they have their own ways of defeating them. Like the Psycho Mantis fight, to defeat him, you gotta plug in your controller in the second player port. I love and hate this technique. Love because I thought it was a pretty cool Easter egg to find out, and hate it because I was playing this game on an emulator, so I had to go out of my way to change the controller settings for me to get the second player controller working. And yes, I know I could have just played it off my PS2, but I didn't do that, so I'm gonna bitch. The Great Fox fight is pretty fun too, except when he does that stupid ass kick attack. My favorite boss fight is definitely Vulcan Raven, specifically the first one. There's something just really satisfying about blowing up a fucking tank with nothing but grenades. My least favorite boss would have to be Sniper Wolf. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm ass at third-person shooters, but the lock on the sniper rifle just never seems to want to work. Like, if you turn the analog stick just slightly, you'll move all the way to the other side of the screen. And just to make things worse, whenever you get shot by Wolf, Snake for some reason just turns to the other direction. But to be fair, this is coming from someone who only just played the first game. maybe it gets better as the series goes on. I don't know, but with some exceptions, the boss fights are really good. When you complete both endings, you get really cool rewards like a stealth camouflage that lets you walk around without protected, the bandana which gives you unlimited ammo, which I don't know how that works, but it's just really fun shooting everything like a madman, and you get the snappy tuxedo right here. There's also VR training mode, which canonically you're supposed to play before you start the game, but it only helps you get used to how this game plays. Apparently, a lot of people like this mode because Konami released a disc with over 300 VR missions. Complete all of them and you get to play as Gray Fox out of 3 of the 300 missions. Now before we talk about the graphics and soundtrack, let's get to the GameCube remaster. In 2004, MGS1 was ported to the GameCube as Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. It's mostly the same from the original, except with a few differences and a few changed voice lines. Characters break the fourth wall every now and then, which is honestly kind of funny. And some of the cutscenes are way over the top. Like someone must have really loved The Matrix because there's so many positives, different angles, and unnecessary slow-mo. Like the one moment that really stand out to me was this.
I'm sure she has it. What frequency was she at?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, it's... Huh? Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Damn!
Now the graphics. I mean, it's a pretty old game, I can go easy on the game there. I mean, the background's still pretty good. I especially love the attention to detail, like when the snake makes footprints wherever he goes. But yeah, the character models are pretty primitive. Also, it's kind of hard to take the character seriously in the cutscenes because of the fact that they don't really have any eyes or mouths. They just bop their heads back and forth. Now, the soundtrack, on the other hand, is fantastic. Like, every song in this game is so good. Like, Psycho Mantis' theme and straight up nightmare fuel. And the boss theme just really makes you pumped up for the next fight. My favorite song in this game is the main theme. Like, it really makes you ready to start sneaking around. This song would become the main theme of the series and Snake as a whole. So in conclusion, I love this game. The story is well thought out and immersive. The gameplay has a few annoying parts, but it's still great overall. And the soundtrack is epic. Future game stories, from what I've heard, are way more convoluted, but I still enjoy the series jumping to 3D with this entry. Now, will I review any of the other games? Probably not, but I do plan to live stream them out at some point. So, if you haven't played this game yet, then what the hell are you waiting for? Like, go for it. Go play it right now. The video's almost over anyway. Although I would recommend it to people who don't like multiple cutscenes. But, yeah. Although sadly, this video is going up on the 27th of December, so I don't think I have any more time to make another video for this year, but I'm actually playing through one game that I really want to do a review on, and if you follow my Discord or social media, I've been teasing this game a lot. So start off the new year, we're gonna be, I'll see you guys again with Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. So while you're waiting for that video, if you like this video, subscribe, leave a like, and comment to show that you like it. Just join my Discord server if you want to talk to me. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you want to see if you want updates for status of videos. Follow my Twitch. I stream on weekends at 9:30 and 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And make sure to subscribe to my second channel, Issue Stash, if you want to see bloopers, Twitch archives, and shitposts. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.